Hello, Get Rich Education Nation. It's Keith Weinhold here again at the New Orleans Investment Conference 2017 in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I'm here with Chris Martenson of Peak Prosperity. I just listened to Chris speak. He gave a keynote presentation here at the New Orleans Investment Conference, and Chris had a really interesting spin and sort of a different definition of wealth than the way that we conventionally think about it. How do you describe wealth, Chris?
I look at wealth in three layers. So a lot of people listening to this, you say how wealthy is somebody, and the first question you usually ask is how many dollars do they have, right? How big is their bank account? How big is their stock portfolio? But that's not actually wealth. That's a claim on wealth. So why do you like money? You like money because you can go buy something with it, a cup of coffee or a house or something. So I like to look at it in three layers. The first layer, primary wealth. Now, 200 years ago, nobody was confused when you said, who's the richest person in town or in this country? And it would be the largest landowner. The reason is the land is the primary wealth. So if you have a rich bed of coal, or you have access to, a lease on the rich fishing grounds, or you have a thick stand of timber, primary wealth, you got that. But primary wealth just sits there. It doesn't do anything until a human comes along and brings it to market. That makes secondary wealth. So it's the means of production. It's taking a tree and turning it into lumber. It's taking food that's grown and bringing it to market. That's secondary wealth. But watch what happened here. If you don't have any primary wealth, you can't have any secondary wealth. No trees, no lumber. So in this story, we have to understand how much primary wealth there is, how much secondary. Everything people usually talk about with wealth is actually tertiary wealth, third order, and that's a claim on wealth. It's stocks, it's bonds, it's derivatives, it's cash. But that has no value if you can't buy something, secondary wealth with it. If you can't buy a company, an apartment, a car, those sorts of things. So we're at a really unusual time in history where the tertiary wealth claims are mushrooming. Look at derivatives measuring $1 quadrillion, all tertiary wealth. When you look at the amount of money creation and the trillions and trillions of dollars by central banks, these are all claims, but you have to pay attention to how much primary and secondary wealth actually exists in the story.
Tertiary wealth and derivatives are dangerous because they're so far removed from primary wealth and what truly is the means of production. So Chris, how can someone learn more about thinking about wealth differently?
Well, that little piece I just told you about is just a tiny piece of something called the Crash Course, which is a 28-chapter video series that I put out in 2008. And it's been viewed lots of times in lots of languages. If you want to listen to it in Hebrew or Spanish or French, go for it. All by volunteers. That was wonderful. And we have an accelerated crash course that's just 53 minutes long. I have a book called The Crash Course as well. What do you do with that information is in another book called Prosper that I co-wrote with Adam Taggart, who operates peakprosperity.com with myself.
Okay, Chris Martenson, it's been great. It's a new way to think about wealth, and it's sort of redefining it. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Hey, my pleasure.